This is my buddy Ron. Ron, this is David's son from Ultralift.
Hey, David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
I'm
meet you.
Ron, man, and I know the feeling as well. So I'm usually too busy to get on myself. But I said this is a emerging technology. Let's look at this. So thanks for taking your time out, man.
Thank you for you guys patiently waiting. I mean, I'm handling Ultralift and I'm handling Emerge. So until we get to a point where we have more of the better, like a full scale of talent, and it's hard bringing on talent, and we don't want to just bring anyone and later replace and things like that in today's environment. So a lot on my plate, but appreciate your guys' patience.
No problem. So I think like most of the people in my inner circle are pretty familiar with crypto and how everything works. But for anyone who might be new, who's just hearing about this project the first time, do you think you could just give us like a quick rundown? What is Ultralift? What is Emerge? How are they going to interact with the blockchain? And what's the whole vision of this program or this company?
Okay, so Ultralift is a hardware company, right? Has the power tool device in the bracketry to raise and lower trailer landing gears. It was just started to provide equipment as a solution only, right? And then when we got a call in 2018 from an insurance company, changed everything. I mean, during that time, I knew about blockchain, and I said, hey, if we're going to make a data company, why not have it on the blockchain? So that made Emerge Labs, that gave birth to Emerge Labs. And so how both will coordinate with each other, and obviously everything's patented for what we do. So immediately we went and filed a patent for deriving data from the landing gear, which is only with our solution, right? So we have that, and we also have our mining process in patent pending right now too, as well, because it's a new concept. We're mining from data. So Ultralift, just hardware for raising and lowering the trailer landing gear, helping truckers, with safety and eliminating injuries pertaining to the landing gear. Every truck, I wouldn't say every truck driver, but I'd say 90% truck drivers do drop and hook, which is when they engage and disengage truck and a semi-truck and a trailer. Now on the Emerge side, and why the data is so interesting and why we're doing this project is because for the first time, we're able to, in a sense, protect drivers and insurance companies at the same time. Before you think, okay, drivers get injured, workers' comp payouts, but when when there's payouts for workers' comp, insurance companies lose money. So there's over 200 something millions of dollars lost by insurance companies. And also the bad part is we all experience delays today, and that's because shortage of drivers. They're injured from either landing gear or falling out the truck. Those are the two main causes of injuries for drivers. So with the data aspect onto the blockchain, that's just one aspect of Emerge. So we thought, okay, if we're going to have all that data, might as well be mining the tokens. So with that, we developed a data algorithm. So for the first time, we're using useful data and for someone doing a job to mine a token. We're the only project out there where someone's using a tool. I mean, it happens to be a tool, but a form of a device that you're using to work, right? So we're ergonomic, we're green, we're job performing, and data-driven mining. So we covered quite a bit of areas. I might have missed a couple, that's on our white paper. So that's what we're trying to do. Now, we also cover all types of fundamentals in the crypto space right now. For example, AI. In the future, we're going to add AI to our project. How? It's going to analyze the data to let insurance companies determine which fleets or drivers are high risk or low risk, just simply based on where their drop and hooks happen. Are they in a high risk zone? Are they in a low risk zone? Those are all important. They can't calculate that today. They're going to be on the phone application. Hey, where do you do drop and hooks at? There's no way to determine that. Of course, every year is different based on different customers, but they can at least detect a pattern, right? And adjust premiums. And there's a lot of other data points, which I don't want to bore everyone with a whole bunch. They can get into details in our white paper. So that is essentially how Emerge was formed, on the basis that we're helping truck drivers as a reward system, and also benefiting insurance carriers for able to verify data and later on apply AI to help them enhance their business. Emerge Labs will be decentralized and centralized. So for the first time, both decentralized and centralized. Centralized because government entities or the general public, they can see where all the drop and hook data appears on the map. For example, if Detroit gets the most, drop and hook, that means there's a lot of traffic going in there. No one can really give all that data. For right now, they have electronic logging devices, ELDs. A lot of trucking companies have that, almost every driver, right? But the problem with that is you're just able to see, where drivers drive to, but you don't see like the destination of a pickup to a drop. So for example, government entities, if they want to fix all the freeways, billions of dollars in damages per year, right, by semi trucks and trailers, our government right now does not have the funds to fix every freeway. So you got to pinpoint to see and take care of the busier sections, right? That's how they'll analyze the data. American Trucking Association and other safety or DOT, there's so much data they can get from ours and probably make new regulations or whatnot. And then I'm not going to get into the partnerships that we'll have in the future that will, have all the different data communicating besides the landing gear. So with all that said, and we have a charity program, drivers mining, 10% of that goes to a new charity that we created called Injured Veteran Drivers. So pretty much all the drivers today are helping previously injured drivers that can no longer drive. So we cover so many good aspects with our project. I think that's it.
So it sounds like in a nutshell, this is gonna provide a major improvement to our supply chain infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, when someone is using this power tool and they start mining the cryptocurrency, where does it get distributed to? Which blockchain is this built on? What wallets are gonna work with this?
Okay, so when we first started this, our program, most of that guys said, okay, let's work on Ethereum. It's the biggest name, at that time. But slowly, as we see, like right now, there's so many different fees on their network. So we decided it was between Polygon or Solana, and we ended up going with Solana. So we also developed during this period of time our own wallet called Galaxy Wallet. And that's where all the tokens will be stored on. So for example, a miner with a tool, right? All the tokens mined will go onto the individual or company's wallet on the Galaxy. On the Galaxy wallet, and both are on the Solana network. What was the other question that I asked?
The other thing I was gonna bring up was, before the mining distribution, you guys were doing a pre-sale for some of the digital assets or some of the cryptos, in other words. My question was about the tokenomics, and could you explain a little bit about the tokenomics, and is there any liquidity locked or incentive for early buyers to not just dump these things all on the exchanges at once?
Okay, so one thing that we own up to mistakes. We didn't program it well enough to have they call it locking periods, right? So we're creating a locking period, and we're also gonna reward everyone because of that. We're not just saying, hey, here's a locking period. We're gonna have a rescission, and then also reward everyone. It's gonna come out of management's fund to reward people. Like, hey, here's some extra tokens because we didn't do this right in the beginning, and we're making everyone have a rescission to protect everyone. That is something that's in the works, number one. Number two, how our tokenomics works is majority of it is for mining, right? So we have a total supply of 888 million and change. It's all eights, right? So we have 571 million strictly for mining purposes. So we have, I don't have it in front of me, but we have 17% for management. And then we have, I believe, 13 to 15% for the full raise. Of course, what doesn't end up finish at what's remains unraised or unsold per se. What's not sold will go, well, either we haven't made a decision yet. Either we're going to burn them, or we're going to potentially even surprise everyone and redistribute it to everyone that came in before. So we don't know yet, but that's how that's how the structure of our tokenomics is. Majority of it, so I would say it's almost 70%, 60 something percent don't quote me on the numbers, is for mining. And that was because this whole system is built on that. If drivers are not mining, they're not providing data. So they're the ones that's going to be earning. Now, another thing is we got questions, well, how can the general public participate in mining? They're not truck drivers, right? So we have quite a bit from the Ultralift side. We have quite a bit of people that won't spend the money to help their back and shoulders, or maybe not able to afford it. So it's only one of those two reasons. So we have quite a bit of a list that we can have, people that do believe in the project and love the concept of the mining, maybe perhaps buy the miner / tool, sponsor the driver, and perhaps we still working on details of that program, but perhaps do like a split, because 10% of that is going to the charity, right? But maybe, again, I don't want to come up with numbers and later have people watch it and like fall back on it, but we're making details to that. So both sides is solving a problem. One, you get to mine. If you're, an individual in the space that love mining projects, but you're not a truck driver. So we can have them buy the unit, sponsor, and obviously it'll be insured if a trucker never returns it or certain things. There's a lot to that program detail that we're creating, and I think we should have that in about a week or two. So hopefully I answered a lot of that in the tokenomics.
Okay. Ron, feel free to jump in if you got any questions or anything.
Well, I would like to ask a question while we're talking about the mining. So it's a hardware device. I just want a little bit of clarity about the mining actually. Like, is it a hardware device, and like how much do you already have a price point for it too?
So the miner is the power tool that is pretty much what we sell right now to all the truck drivers and fleet managers and fleets. Is a tool has no data, right? Non-data. We're perfecting it. We're changing the whole shape of it, perfecting a few things, and then adding mining board to it. And then we also, due to a little delay that we had because Chinese New Year and before that, some of the we're a little bit behind. But in this process, we also had some bigger names that we have. I don't want to bring their names up right now because it's not for certain. You got older management that don't know anything about crypto, but are watching the whole crypto space. And these two are pretty big brands. Now, if they were to come on, actually, there's 3 of them. If they were to come on one day, it only makes sense for them to say, hey, instead of creating 1 billion, 2 billion, 10 billion tokens, let's have our drivers mine the token along with EMGT. And so what we decided to do is have dual mining in our tool. So let's say we give to, I'm just going to say one name, and that might not be the name, but let's say if we were to, all the Coca-Cola drivers using our tool, and Coca-Cola want to create a token. And well, it's probably a better image for them to have something that's mined and it has more value because it's earned, rather than just, hey, we're going to create 10 billion Coca-Cola tokens and here's how you get them or whatnot. So we want to have dual mining for that purpose. So we created, so essentially the tool will have dual mining. Our current non-smart power tool that drivers use today and currently, right, is $675. I don't have a price point for the new tool with the data because, in the mining, because there's so many other components, it's not done yet, but design's almost complete. I think we're gonna, sometime in March, I should have a rendering to show everyone 99% about what the tool will finally look like, right? But the inner components, which is the bill of material, is still, being worked out. And also, there's no product that the first run prototype comes out works perfect. I mean, I've been in the manufacturing space for a long time, but let's say we get it down in 2 to 3 shots, right? To have it perfected. Of course, we're gonna have a Wi-Fi chip in it, and a lot of testing. I can see it being around $1,000. I don't see it being more than that. And then they all have a 5-year warranty. So the current graphic miners don't have 5-year warranty, right? We're gonna have a 5-year warranty for it.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the big hardware miners for like proof of work mining, in 5 years, those things are obsolete anyways. So it's
right.
You got to really
So,
keep up with all that
but for
technology.
arguing for the tools, I mean, maybe in 5 years, I mean, after the first production comes out, 5 years we'll have a design change or more things will happen, right? Maybe we need more different circuitry to communicate with other datas, right? There's so many other data points in trucking, not just ours, but we're the first starting project in this space.
I would imagine it's going to be a constantly evolving type of ecosystem, just
correct
with everything. I mean, so all right. So now, could you give us an estimate on how many insurance companies have shown interest in this project?
Currently, we have 2, but that's because we haven't marketed ourselves, right? March 30th, there's an insurance trade show. I don't have the name in front of me, but we're going to be obviously posting, like, come visit if you can, or hey, if you know any insurance companies, come to the show. It's an insurance company show. It's end of March. I know it's March 30th. We'll be there. I think it's in Southern California. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to definitely sign up more during that time. Of course, we don't have the product yet, but at least to have a whole list, of who to present to once it's ready. So, there's about 100 plus insurance companies that will be at that event. I hope to get 20, 30, on board. Not necessarily on board, but at least, hey, waiting list. I'm a very conservative person. I don't like to fluff or this. At least my goal is to get 30 that shows interest and then go on from there.
Yeah, well, I'm sure like if one of them starts benefiting from it, naturally you'd want to share it. And if it really is solving a problem, it's going to domino into all the other companies as well.
Oh, absolutely. I guess the best way to phrase it is right now we have an insurance company, one of the 2 that are offering grants for companies to buy our product. It's kind of like paying too much insurance or workers' comp. Yeah. Let's buy these equipment so they don't get injured. So they're doing that right now. They're not really, yes, they're benefiting because no payout, right? But how they can benefit more is imagine the insurance company, and it could play so many ways. Imagine they buy the miners, right? They give to one company to mine, to use as a tool, but because they provided it, they're mining the tokens. So later, data for free. Now, if the drivers are buying the tool, they still have to buy our token to access the data. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's they like, let's say one insurance company buys 20 of these tools, gives it to their most injured fleet or one of the many, and there's no injuries, number one, so they already have that payout. They can write off what they just bought for them, but then they're earning the tokens because they paid for it, not the trucking company, right? Yep. So with our tokens being at whatever the X amount it is, if we were to charge $12, $10 to $12 per unit, per driver per month, the data, right? Decentralized data for them to review. Imagine, as our token eventually gets on exchanges and have a higher value than what it is today, they're spending very little, right? Because they were mining in the beginning. Same concept as everybody, right? Everybody who mined, in the space, everyone that mined Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other big names early on, right, benefited the most later. That's the same concept.
Got it. Now, when this tool is functioning, is it going to be communicating with the Galaxy Wallet completely over Wi-Fi, or is it going to have a Bluetooth option?
It's going to have a SIM card.
Okay.
So I believe, I don't want to sound stupid, but this is our dev team that could probably answer that better, but I can definitely answer. We're going to have a SIM card. We're already working with either Verizon, T-Mobile, or both, on board with the solution, and depending on who we end up going with for the SIM card, because it's only going to require very little data, right? It's not the packets. They call it data packets. So they were going to only charge us around like $3 to $4 a month per SIM card. Mm-hmm. So that's the only reason why it would make sense for us to charge 12. We can't charge 20, 30. It would kind of be too high, but we kind of gauged around 10. Even if it was like $8, we're still, Emerge Labs would still be a profitable, crypto company because of that data /crypto. And so it's going to be off of a SIM card. And so, and one of the other questions that we usually get is, what if a driver is in a bad location, right? There's a bad location everywhere with no signal, right? It would save all that information, and then when it goes into the range, the SIM card, when there's signal, it'll relay it.
Got it. So aside from the insurance companies, are there any other institutions you believe that could benefit from this technology?
Government side, absolutely. I think I mentioned earlier, DOT, American Trucking Association, any other trucking associations, and this is not just US and Canada, it can apply to other countries, right? Of course, we're only in 10 countries, 8 other ones beside the predominant market that we're going to focus on, which is Canada and US, because that's where we have the most customers for now. And the reason we didn't have so many overseas, 2 reasons. One, a lot of the second, third world countries don't have workers' comp. So not like, it's only if they care about their drivers, unfortunately, right? And the number 2, shipping costs. It costs just as, they're paying double. It costs just as much to ship one set as opposed to, and we don't have a distributor in some of those countries. We had inquiries, but I mean, they got to buy a pallet to 2 pallet to have it make sense. But the shipping was the barrier. But just focusing on Canada and US, I'm having a moment. Just focusing on Canada and US, that's where we're our biggest focus is for that. What was exactly a question? I'm sorry. I've been on a lot of calls today.
Oh yeah, no, I was asking if other, if other institutions aside from just insurance companies.
There could be other data groups,
Yeah.
other groups that have data to calculate other products for this industry that we might not be aware of, but we know just, from an insurance side, government entities. I can also see platforms, because right now, to eliminate the brokering service, there's a lot of online brokering, right? Where there's apps where drivers, independent owner operators can pair up with a client, right? I'm sure to show when the proof of delivery, real time, right? It would be a drop and hook, right? If you drop the goods onto the customer, the proof of it is when the driver, does the drop and hook.
Gotcha.
Which the truck from the trailer, at least having that as a backup. So I could see us working with brokerage platforms in the future. I could also see us working with factoring companies. These are just some to think of for the moment being.
So would this be something someone could just go and buy at, say, like a Kragen Auto Parts store or something like that?
No, it's a little more specialized, only because the bracketry system, all the landing gears are built different from older trailers, different dimensions. It's not something that someone would say, oh, this will work. So far right now, we sell out of our warehouse in Ohio on the Ultralift side, and we take every call. We send them a measuring diagram. They give us the dimension, and we have a short and long stabilizer bracket. But that's on the Ultralift side. In the future, obviously with the smart tool, that's the bracketry changes too, because there's going to be like a RFID or NFC in there. So you're also able to, for a fleet management side. So that's a good point. So beyond insurance companies and government entities, the bigger fleet managers want this data as well. For example, they're going to be able to see all the movement of every trailer. Right now, it's all on paper.
Makes sense. What is the potential for someone to, say, abuse the mining mechanism of the tool? Say they just start dropping the hitch over and over just to try to mine the crypto. What's the potential for that?
Our couch and running the tool. Right? I question a lot. So we have a lot of safeguards built in. And it's being programmed and designed into, and we're going to do a ton of testing so that there is no cheating possible. So for example, if let's say a driver uses a tool to drop and hook, and then he uses again and over, it'll start getting flagged. And this is where AI comes in eventually. First, it'll be manual and have programmed in where we get alerts. Hey, this particular driver is doing it too many times, right? Yeah. Because when you do a drop and hook, you leave, right? As a driver, there's no twice or 3 times. And if you're doing it twice or 3 times, maybe you made some mistake or certain things, we would have a period, and it's still being calculated at formation, right? We're gonna have an average number, and during because it's all different. Some landing gears just drop, 7-8 inches. Some drop, a lot more. Some need to raise 2 inches based on the tire profile in order for the truck to get under. There's so many of those variations, but we could calculate an average time that the mining takes place. Now, if it constantly happens over and over, same location, it'll flag it and it will send a warning. And if they do it again, right, then, we'll probably have a mechanism where you're banned to mine for a whole week. And things like that will trigger people to be more, or we can set it as hey, every half hour, you can literally only mine once, and it has to be a different GPS location.
Got it. That reminds me a lot of how the algorithms work on a lot of social media platforms already, like Facebook. Like if you were to just go and start spamming a bunch of links everywhere, that creates a pattern, and their AI picks up on that and says, oh, you're a spammer, we're going to block your account. It's similar. What you just described reminds me of exactly how the social media algorithms work.
Right, definitely. So we have to have program metrics in. And obviously anything that's worthwhile cheating, people are going to try to cheat.
Yep.
In life, right? So, and then obviously no one can sit on their couch, run the tool in mine, because it has to touch a stabilizer bracket, and no one can hold on to a stabilizer bracket. I'm just giving all the scenarios. We thought it through. It also has to have a torque. You're not going to drive a torque without doing that. And let's just say someone has a landing gear and a bracket mounted in, right, or whatever, just do that. I mean, I don't see that, but if our token takes off in the future, I can see that happening. But hey, it's also GPS coordinate. We would flag it, and there would be so many things, because that's stayed there. That's stationary, and that's not what we're looking for. And obviously, we'll have all the different programs and to enforce that.
Got it.
It's all thought of.
All right. My other question was accessing the portal or accessing the data. Is this going to be something that is done through, say, like a Chrome extension wallet? Because you can do that with Solana. You can just download the Phantom wallet as a Chrome extension, go to the site, boom, connect wallet, and then you're interacting in the website, in an ecosystem, in a database. Is that how it's going to be, or is it going to be like a private login specifically for insurance companies?
Well, we would have, first it's going to be on an app. We would have an app and a desktop version, right? So for fleets, insurance companies, I think they would be accessing on the desktop, but also if they decide on app, because there's only so much room that you can build on an app for the screen, right? For all the different graphs and data. But we would have a centralized where everyone can see generic, and centralized for the clients.
Got it.
Essentially, yes, we would have to have a separate platform login.
Okay.
For the
Ron, you got any questions?
But also for centralized, it would be cool for everyone to be on the network, all the different locations, last drop and hook happen. It won't say the company's name, obviously. It won't have a driver hash. It will be missing a lot of info for privacy purposes.
Yeah.
That's on the. But decentralized, which is their own internal, they can see every single data info. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. I just have one more question, but I want to see if Ron had any other questions.
No, I did have a couple questions, but Sean, you really hit them. You asked some great questions, so.
Thank you. All right. Well, the one more thing I wanted to bring up was, during these times of regulatory uncertainty in crypto, how do you guys plan to stay legal and compliant?
Well, we have a legal team that kind of helps guide us through all that and the decisions that we make, but also just, thinking from a new project that we're probably the only one with the hardware that's in real life use. I'm not talking about hardware that's sitting plugged into a wall. So it's we're a very unique, project. So we have hardware that's performing and mining a digital asset, right? So, I think that if you count what projects that can sustain for the longevity of the blockchain space, and it's kind of weird saying this, but we're a true data company. And some people asked us, why even be on the blockchain? Is that necessary from older management that doesn't understand crypto, you know? And
absolutely, it's necessary.
right, I said blockchains for everything. It's recording that can't be changed, you know, like that's really recording of data that's can't be manipulated or altered. That's the reason why we need our data on the blockchain. So we're a data company besides blockchain. And a lot of the projects right now, you know, fearing the regulatory space is because they're creating, you know, projects for adoption, right? Also, you know, a lot of them, we have more progress than a lot of projects that are trading right now, right? I mean, if you really think about it. And we're not in a hurry. We're a project. We're not in a hurry to, you know, create any scenarios like, you know, but that's why we're not on swaps. Really want people to see that we're waiting to really progress in the right position and the right, you know, time frame, step by step with more progress. We're not in a hurry to like, hey, get on swaps to lock liquidities and things of that nature, you know. So as a project, I firmly believe we're a solid project. We have adoption. We come from the real world, real customers. Now we're adding data to it and tying the blockchain to it. But we're carefully, we have a team and we're carefully monitoring every situation. But we're definitely not afraid of what the regulatories and what new regulatories will come, because I feel like we have everything to prove that we're a necessary project for the blockchain space.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that was all my questions. Ron, if you wanted to jump in, any more last questions?
Not that I can think of offhand.
Okay.
I don't have any.
Anything, just shoot any kind of question. This is
yeah, David's very transparent. He loves getting on these and just ask me anything. That's what I like. All right, I think we're good then. Anyways, anyone who's watching, if you had any additional questions, let us know in the comments. And one more thing, you know, where can someone go to learn more about Ultralift Technologies and what they're doing with Merge?
We've been getting a lot of feedback. Hey, update your site, you know, and things like that. We're gonna update our site to make it more corporate for ultralifttech.com. It's ultralifttech.com. That's for Ultralift, and Emerge is emergetoken.com, EMERGETOKEN.com. And then Galaxy Wallet, which is coming soon. We're in the extension phase. We submitted for extension. So once that's done, do more testing, and then everyone with the EMGT token should be able to do peer-to-peer and play with that on their wallet. Oh, also another cool thing, forgot to mention. So for anyone that made it this far in the video, we're also involved with NFTs, and everyone says, okay, what's the utility behind this NFT? So we're going to be launching an NFT soon. I don't want to say the name of it because we're still debating how to title it, but, you know, I mean, we thought about we have a few different names, but the utility behind that is any driver or anyone having this NFT, they would probably mine at double the speed or something cool, you know. And also we're gonna release a limited edition to mint, and then we're also gonna have other NFTs, the other portion in mining blocks, so randomly mined through the tool.
Okay.
So pretty. So so again, we're trying to tie as much fundamental as we can into the space without like forcing something. We just thought, hey, that's a good representation. Actually, that came from a driver. That's part of a very influential driver, and said, hey, you know, it'd be cool if you did that and have different mining mechanisms. And I said, hey, that makes sense. You know?
Yep, makes perfect sense. All right, well, thank you so much, David, for coming on. That was all the questions I had for right now. So maybe we could do another update in the future and keep everyone.
We could do questions. You know, we could do a once a month kind of thing. You know, we're stepping up more on the social space. We're trying to bring on someone to help with that more so than relying on our programmers right now. They're not good at that stuff. I mean, I'm like, we need to have posts. They're like, what's more important, code or post? And I'm like, okay, well, we'll bring someone in. So we're going to be more active on the posts. moving forward and create more content, more videos, more interviews, things like that. And then we're going to try to bring more on as well. And we have a couple coming on board already. I think we have John Sally. We were on a three-way. It's like a retired player, but he has a lot of other people on his team, other celebrities and whatnot. And this isn't something what we're trying to do, like, a Mayweather on some token and then, none of that. We're true value. We're not using celebrities or things like that to do a pump. We're not even on swaps. Yeah. So, it's just more for the reach. We're such a great project. We're not having, everyone on our side is not a marketing guru, right? We're just on, I come from a company background, right? Developing products, selling product, our programmers, that's what they do. So, and that's why we're just trying to build a team, a network, and grow organically. And anyone that sees this now and part of this now, this is really like, I'm not saying we're the next Bitcoin, but this is really like people getting into Bitcoin in 2006. This is exactly where you are in our project.
Cool. What you just said actually now I have one last question based on what you said about you're looking for someone to help manage your social media and keep up with the posts. If there's anyone out there that is interested in a position like that, but who do they contact?
They can reach out to our Nolan and myself, and also Rudy. We're also always looking at on our Twitter, Signal, and there's another one. There's so many apps. Telegram. Yeah. And then our Discord is starting to get some movement. We got to build. There's just so many apps.
It's like, it really is.
We're in this era, and there's probably a new one that we don't even know about yet. Until we know about it. Yeah. It's just insane, right? So we definitely want like someone full time, and it definitely requires that. We would look a lot better for anyone that doesn't know our project. Coming and looking us up on social doesn't make us look very, big versus everyone else. But our project is bigger than all the other ones that might depict different on social media.
Cool stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and we'll end the recording, and then I'm going to leave links in the description of this video to all the info about Ultralift and Emerge. We'll leave their Twitter, the website, and Telegram, and all that good stuff. All right. See you guys later.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.